How's it going, guys? My name is Todd Bright. Welcome to All Ingesters feedback and Q&A session. We call this Red Line Live. So thanks for joining us this evening and for your time. Thank you for my members who have submitted their work for us to go over tonight. This is a time where we look at our members' hard work, and we pick drawings, or they send in drawings, to go over tonight for feedback. So that's what we're doing. And for those of you who are on Instagram and YouTube, thank you for joining us this evening and clicking on the buttons and stuff. Yeah, please shout out your questions. I would love to see it. I'm going to keep checking the chats as I draw and scribble and things like that. I'm going to be just a little transparent with you guys. This has been a pretty devastatingly difficult day here in the U.S., and I almost didn't come on tonight. I was like going to tell my members, let's push this off another week. But in the to honor Charlie Kirk, I wanted to push on and and do, I think, what Americans do in tragedy is we push forward, and there's a time for mourning and there's a time for moving forward, and so anyway, all that to say, I'm still processing all of that today. We've been praying for his family and praying for our country. This is a really tough time. So there was a thing I got from my pastor at church. That's a plaque on my desk over there. It says, "Man of courage honors God at all times," and it references "Be strong and courageous" from Joshua chapter 1 verse 9. And I believe that Charlie Kirk was very strong and very courageous to do what he did. But we can't help but mourn with for his family today. So anyway, all that to say, not to be a downer, but just wanted to bring that to you where I'm at. But I want to really celebrate some drawings. We had a really great session last week with our model Annette, and she was a Lady Galadriel. That was our theme, and she did fantastic. It was very graceful, a lot of amazing poses, and some really nice drawings. So let's see, here we go. Let's click on some buttons here. There we go, perfect. There it is, okay. First up, RW. I thought this was a very nice pose here. Very, very fancy. This was, again, Lady Galadriel. She's an amazing character from Lord of the Rings. And this month has been also our, what do you call that? Members' Choice Month. Yes. All right, here we go. And so we have a list from our members and from actually any artist who comes into our Discord server. And there's a theme ideas button or channel you can click on and put some ideas in there for us. And we had a Lady Galadriel theme request and we fulfilled it. So there we go. Anyway, so RW, very nice pose. I thought this was very lovely. What else we got here? And I thought this one, you just bang that hip right out. I'm so pumped for you. You really found the good exaggeration in this pose, and I just love it. So really nice. I think you got the attitude really well. The only thing I might do is push that arm a little bit. Let's just see. Just to be picky. Otherwise, overall, I think you really hit this pose nice. Just this arm, I think we could have, and I know she had it kind of dropped and going back in space and things like that. But it looks like just the way you've positioned it, you took it away from her body, which is totally fine. I think that clears up a silhouette, and then it's coming at us, right? You got your foreshortening. But yeah, just dropping that arm just a little bit, okay? Making that upper arm, I should say, not forearm, upper arm, just a little longer. Even though the rest of it, I think you did a fine job, as far as like trying to get down that foreshortening. But all that to say, it's like making sure because the other arm is plenty long, right? Looks like the proportions are really nice. And I think just for the sake of readability, making sure the arm doesn't look anemic, right? Just dropping that a little bit. So just tweaking, but that's just me being nitpicky because I love it, okay? Nitpicky, I'm gonna put it over there, scooting it out of the way here, okay? All right, and then you had this lovely pose. This is like a graceful kind of moment, like kind of pose here. I don't know, maybe Galadriel's like going through the forest, kind of an idea. I don't know, RW, you're kind of killing it this week. I'm digging it. I think if I was just to get picky, it would be in the face and stuff, but these are quick, especially this was an earlier on pose, I think, in the workshop. I'm just not gonna pick on you too much today. I love how you brought the hands over to the side. I think that was a good choice as far as the silhouette of the pose. I don't think it was necessary to do it, but it was like, I think it was an idea. It was a choice, and I like that you did it. So, yeah, really well done this week. So, I think if I were to pick on anything, it would just be starting to play around with head shapes just a little bit. We've done a little bit, RW. We've done an anatomy series in our workshop. I think I posted it to our Anatomy Bites on our member page, but with the head. And so maybe just taking a look at that, do a little bit of head studies, might be a good thing. I know we talk about a lot doing simple shapes, and I'm going to zoom in on this drawing a little bit. But instead of just thinking of an oval, doing a little bit of head study, right? And thinking of some different shapes. I'm going to see if I can knock this back just a little bit. Considering like the jaw, right? Like the jawline, you have the cranium back here, right? So you have a couple of shapes going. Let's see, like drawing over here to the side a little bit. I don't know if that's showing up on YouTube, Instagram, but you have like your cranium, right? And then you have your jaw. It's a side view. I know you're not doing a side view, but so you kind of have like that shape back here.
Sorry, I can only do that if something is playing.
Guess who just chimed in? Suri. Suri decided to chime in. That was awesome. Yeah, Apple, get it right, would you? Come on, man. All right, that's awesome, man. All that to say, you're going to have that skull back here, your jawbone, or, your jawline here. You're going to get that right up by your ears at that hinge, right? That, if you're opening and closing. And so you kind of have some structure going on there. And you have a little bit of cheek there, all right? Your eye socket, kind of a vibe. Looks like I drew the eyes first, so now it's all looking weird. But all that to say, it's like getting a little bit of structure in there. And doing a little bit of head studies, and you start looking at the planes and things, and start building on that knowledge. When you're doing our gestures, right, our quick sketching, you start drawing with that knowledge, and it starts to like compound, right? It starts to add up. So all that to say, try doing a little bit of head study just to take it further. But I think your sketches were great this week, so really well done. Thank you for submitting. Maria, these were so lovely this week. What can we pick on? Because these are so nice. So like neat little character designs and little drawings. I could tell you had a lot of fun with them. So nice. Let's see here. Looking at this, I feel like I like the feeling in all of the drawings this week. They're really cute and fun. But I feel like this one, the balance got a little even. She had all, and you could tell with this hip up, right? Her weight was on that. That would be her right hip, the model's right hip. And so if all that weight is over there, her center of her body is going to travel over there too. Okay. And so I feel like yours got a little centered. All right, like that. And I want to push it just a little bit to the side, okay? But I love all the little expressions you got, and I can tell just as an artist you were just having fun, and I love that. I love when things are flowing. Sometimes other weeks can be hard, that kind of a thing. So all I'm doing, I'm just shifting everything over, okay? Is basically it. Just to say, watch the balance in the pose, because when we shift, if the head isn't relating to the feet well, things can get too even, right? So make sure you just check that relationship to those feet, because I think we talk about storytelling and attitude and things all the time, right? And part of pushing attitude and pushing attitude is pushing the balance, okay, or being aware of it. So I'm just gonna, here's my little stick figure, but just kind of, I'm shifting it over just a little bit, okay? And I think there's a little bit more attitude happening there because of it. All right? So anyway, great job, Maria. Corey, you're next up. Let's see here. And Corey's in here. What's up, dude? All right, some nice stuff this week. I know in your note you said you're putting in facial features this week. Very cool. Totally agree. I love that you jumped in there and just start indicating. That's awesome. I know that's the detail side of things a little bit, but getting that in there, just indicating, I think it really, you're basically putting down information. Okay. But yeah, here we go. All right. All right. So I think you did some really strong poses. I could tell you really worked on your proportions as well. Really good, man. Corey's working hard. That's what it takes. Lots of drawing, right? I'm with you. Okay, this one I think was really good. It's actually the pose I think we just worked on over there. Just as a quick read, I know she had those poofy sleeves on, but as a quick read, I want to make sure that this is registering as a female, okay? And when you look at the anatomy of a man versus woman, generally men are broader in the shoulder and narrower in the hip. Just being aware of that a little bit because it's a quick read, right? And I would say all poses are a quick read. You know, whether you're aware of it or not, like as the audience member. It's just like you're looking at a pose, you're reading body language right away, expression if you get that close, right? Body shape, body type, you know, we instantly know when somebody's a man or a woman or a baby, right? That kind of a thing. So it's like one of those things. And I said generally, like we're all, you know, built differently. Some people are born one way or they work out or whatever, you know, but you know what I'm saying. But with this thing of gesture drawing, figure drawing, character design, you know, it's like these are the rules you need to be aware of, okay? And when to break those rules. But all that to say, just to be a little bit conscious of it or whatever. Conscious. That's the word already. All right, that's all. So basically I brought her hip out just a little bit. Boom. And that even helps with this particular pose, I think, just a little bit, just to exaggerate. Boom, just like bang that hip out, you know. And it's like you can go back and look at the recording of the workshop, and you can really see it. But yeah, other than that, I think you had some really nice looseness. Even this one, you know, we could talk about details and things, but I think you had a really nice flowy looseness, but you had some really good decision making. It tells a lot of what do you call it? Boldness, confident in your line. So well done. All right. All right. Next up, we got Jennifer. Okay. Oh, cool. So I had a question from Dory. It says, "Hey Todd, I know you have pretty big content load, but do you plan on creating videos specifically for YouTube? I feel like some videos targeting specific topics would be intriguing." We are going to be rolling out a course that will be on my website, and it's going to be like beginner stuff and then intermediate and more advanced topics and things like that. But right now on YouTube, I do have clips from our classes, Dory, like our tips of the morning, and I'm going to put our chalk talks on there. I put one of our anatomy lessons on there, but generally I try to keep the meatier content for you guys, for the members. Yeah, so great question. Thank you for asking. All right, Jennifer, really cool, beautiful. Look at that beautiful drawing. So nice. Love that face. I know you had a specific question about a different drawing, but we're going to take a quick gander at this one. It's just little stuff because I could tell you really get into this theme. This is more of an illustration pass. Really lovely face. Really nice. I would say I just want to pick on the proportions a little bit. Okay, so I'm not going to change the head at all. Just doing that for my sake of laying out the proportions. I think her legs got a little small. And when I think of, again, this was a very specific character, at least in our minds, of what she should be because of the Lord of the Rings movies, right? She's an elf, right? And elves are known to have not only just that long hair, but they're very tall, you know, and very graceful. Even the dudes, right? Like think Legolas, but Galadriel's that way, you know, she's very tall, and I almost want to push that. This may be a little too tall. I don't want her to look like an Avatar person, but I don't quite remember the pose. All that to say, just remember the character, put it in context, right? Especially since it's something that's known. You have freedom to do your artistic things, but just being mindful of proportions a little bit. So, okay? But really lovely feeling in the drawings, Jenny, so really good. And this one, you specifically were asking about the foreshortening on the legs. This is tough because, you know, as far as like looking at the figure, she was all in white, and I think this is also a proportion thing. It's very cartoony, which is, you know, obviously I'm not going to say cartoony is bad because that would be, what do you call that? What do you call that? Hypocritical? Because I'm an animator. So anyway, but you know what I'm saying. it's a little bit, the proportions get a little bit, let's mess with this just a little bit. I'm not sure which direction I want to go in. She is leaning on that arm, so that's a big deal because that's telling me where her weight is going, right? I want to lean her more. Yeah, okay. Leaning, and then I'm going to consider what she's doing. She has that beautiful lean going. I brought her arm in, I think, if I were I looked at the pose there, but I'm digging this idea of a lean, okay? And I think why I'm digging that is just because it's giving me I'm making a decision, and this is all of us when we are throwing lines down. We're making decisions about how we want the body to be reacting. Really asking yourself these questions of like, okay, where is the weight? Boom, you know? And so the body's going to be leaning back a little bit. But since I made the decision about her weight, you know, this hip is going to be down here, and it's back there, can't see it too well. And the other hip is going to be sticking up a little bit, right? And then you have her legs foreshortening, right? There's coming at us. Her thighs there, like thinking of, I don't like drawing tubes, but if you were to think of like a foreshortened tube coming at you, you know, it's like you're getting shapes stacking on top of shapes, right? And they need to overlap, and then you have your kneecap, and then you have your leg, and it looks like it's going almost parallel with us, but maybe back in space just a little bit. Then you would have your foot, right? And then also, and again, I know it was tough, like I said, because of the white dress covering everything, right? It's like maybe this leg, the one on the top, is overlapping. So like asking yourself, okay, what are the legs doing under there? You know, I know you're hiding, but I need to figure out, at least have a quick understanding of what's going on. I'm gonna erase this just a little bit. There we go. And you got your kneecaps, and that leg is probably tucked under just a little bit. So all that to say, really considering those shapes and how they are coming at you in perspective, okay, and how they're also overlapping each other. Like, for example, if I'm gonna draw a view of me coming at you, right, and the my head is going to be overlapping the shape of my shoulders, and my shoulders are overlapping my rib cage, blah blah blah. Okay, so anyway, I hope that answered the question. And Dory, here we go. How are we doing on time? Wow. Oh, we started late, didn't we? Okay. All right, Dory, cool. You had a question about front views. I think this was pretty good, man. Maybe the neck got it. Wow, everybody submitted this drawing. I think everybody liked this pose. It was a good one. I love how exaggerated you got, man, with the legs sticking out. Very good. I think it's a similar thing with the body. I'm gonna do the similar thing with the balance, okay? But I'm just gonna shift this over instead of redraw the top, because I think what I like, Dory, is you were pushing it. You were pushing that pose, man. I dig it. But just watching that balance, again, that relationship between head and the feet, okay? The head and the ground of the feet, all right? So yeah, and I like that you stuck that leg out. That's really fun, very cool. And as far as your head goes, the question you had, I think you did a pretty good job, man. You asked about tracking the features when the head's turning away from you. I think you did a pretty good job at it. Let's see, it's kind of a straight on view like you were saying. I would just remember these shapes. I love the eye line thing. I'm always tracking that eye line. When you're turning a character in space, like in animation, it's like you have to be aware of those construction lines, of the axis lines of the head, this way with the eyes, and then the center of the head. That's a good way to track how things are turning in space, right? And when you're going up like that, the nose, everything's foreshortened, right? So you got this shape, this thing sticking on your face. This, in my case, it's a big triangle, right? And it's like, it's gonna go back up in space, and you're gonna have to track that triangle, you know? Then all of a sudden, the under part of the nose becomes visible more and more. The top of the nose, like, or the bridge, I should say, becomes shorter, right? It starts to go back in space and becomes shorter. And the eyes and the eye socket are going to be drifting back in space also, okay? And I know this is a bit more subtle of a tilt back, which I think you did really well, dude. You know, and the ears, you know, if you're tracking the jawline, right? If you're tracking that, it's gonna like, okay, let's see. The jawline is not turning very much, okay, when I do this. And it's like, okay, that's not going to turn much, and so the bottom of the ears are going to be pretty close to where they were a second ago, right? And the top of the ears, though, those are moving pretty dramatically because they're going back in space, right? Just like that nose. And so those might drop a bit, okay? But understanding where that jaw is connecting, that mandible, right, is really going to help. The eye socket, that's also going to get smaller and thinner. So I don't know if that's what you're asking, but I think that's what you have to track, okay? And we talked a little bit about this Saturday, but like really considering that this is a three-dimensional object. Sorry, I'm checking that chat over on Instagram. Matt says, who knew that All in Gesture was broadcasting on a Alon Curie? I don't know what that means, dude. Am I behind the times? What is that, Matt? Come on. Anyway, great job, Dorian. All right, Scott, last but not least, Scott submitted some of his Draw in the Wild sketches. Scott is an avid sketcher. I thought these dogs are super fun. Those look like two greyhounds, right? Awesome. I love it. Really nice. It looks like you did some sketches from another artist here, which is a great way to study. I love it. Scott's really good at getting a lot of rhythm and action and movement in his sketches. Really, really nice, man. These look like some folks at the mall here. These are really cool sketches too, a lot of movement. Let me center this for our Instagram folks. There you go. But yeah, really nice quick movement and really neat observations. I can't quite read what that says. Like another study, which is really cool. So well done. But the mall one, I thought, and I know it was just a quick observation or whatever, but and I think you do this a lot with your mall sketches and drawing the wild stuff, but like the backstory. Lots of people on their phone. You know, it's so hard going out and drawing people sometimes because everybody's looking at their phone. Like, how many thousands of drawings do I have to do with people on their phones? You know. But as an artist, just like we do on Saturday, we're talking about pushing poses. It's like, what can I do to push this pose? What can I do to push this and bring some entertainment to this situation? You know, obviously you have a couple here. I like that the girl is kind of leaning in a little bit, but it might be a thing where maybe you change it, you know, and like add a little bit more story to this moment. Is she frustrated with him? Can it be a bit more of a romantic moment? Maybe it is a romantic moment. She is looking at him, but he's kind of looking like aloof, you know. Is he looking at the movie times? What's going on, you know? But maybe you can drop her head on the shoulder, you know, like really. And I know it's like, it's all about observation. Is that a backpack? I think it's a backpack. But just pushing that moment a little bit, even if it's a subtle thing like dropping that head, all of a sudden it becomes like a little sweeter, you know? But yeah, other than that, just finding those little moments, even in something simple and subtle, you know? And other than that, just picking on you because you submitted your stuff, but I love your drawings, man. Keep it up. And that's it, guys. That's all we got here this evening. Can you believe it? I can't believe it's been, well, we did start late, but, you know, it's all good. Alrighty. Well, thanks so much for joining in. Thank you to our members who have submitted their stuff. We'll see you next week. Please come Saturday. And Jennifer's back with us to be our model, and we are going to be doing Anna Green Gables. Cool. And I don't know much about that, but Jennifer does. And we have a really great costume that we got, and it's going to be fun. So come draw with us, and yeah, you're going to have a great time. There's a lot of great artists in our little community. We have professionals. We have university professors, believe it or not, right? They're out there. You think, oh, well, they have education all around them, but they're artists, and they know the importance of getting out there and sharpening their tools, right? And which is the foundations of our storytelling. Okay, with gestures. So all that to say, great group. That's it. That's all I got. All right, you guys rock. Oh, and speaking of college, we had a great time today. I met a lot of Ringling School of Art and Design students that came to Imagineering today, and it was really fun and really, really cool. I used to go to Ringling School of Art and Design for 2 years. I went 90 through 92, old school. Wow. And so it was good to meet those young whippersnappers. But it was neat, man. It was a really cool opportunity, and it's a great school. So I know they're big on the fundamentals as well. And yeah, that's it. So you guys rock and roll. I'm gonna go to bed now. You guys have a blessed week and get some sleep, brush your teeth, and yeah, go draw stuff. All right, appreciate you guys.